State of the Address from Mayor Vertreese. I'm Steve Augustin. I'm just here to say a welcome. I'd like to ask Dr. Gerard to come up, say a welcome.
Good evening and welcome to Hillside High School. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to hear from the Honorable Dahlia Vertreese and the State of the Township address. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Gerard and the Board of Education for being a graceful host tonight. At this time, I'd ask ladies and gentlemen to please rise for the entrance of the Hillside High School Arts and Color Guard. Please remain standing for the national anthem and pledge allegiance. This time I'd ask Pastor Jones to come forward.
Let us pray. Spirit of the living God, we ask for your special blessing to be bestowed upon us that have gathered in this place on tonight. May you bless our wonderful township and its citizens for which we have all assembled. We come this evening with an array of hopes, curiosities, and interests. We also come with a willingness to listen and to learn. Help us to not only celebrate our historic accomplishments, but also renew our commitment to joining in the work of strengthening our beloved community. A commitment that transcends private motives or the trap of political meandering. A commitment that's deeply rooted in selfless service and the upliftment of the least among us. A commitment that's devoted to loving our neighbor, much in the way that we desire to be loved. May we remember tonight and every day that as much as we are different, we are so much alike. As resourceful as we may be as individuals, we are our best when we come together as one. Yes, we care deeply, and we are passionate about the things which concern us most. And yet, because we are not God, all of our individual perspectives can be limited in scope. So speak to us, Holy God. Help us to take ownership of a shared vision. A vision that brings hope to our children and youth and speaks to the dreams and desires of our entire citizenry. May your spirit of courage and creativity lead us towards becoming a better Hillside, where there will be peace and prosperity for all who endeavor to call this place home. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. And amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jones. I know we got started a little later today, but I do want to acknowledge some of our honored guests. I see our Assemblywoman, Annette Chiano is here. Thank you, Assemblywoman, for coming through. I also want to acknowledge some of our other electeds that are here. I see the freeholder, Rebecca Williams, she's already standing. I saw a freeholder, former Mayor Angela Garrison is here. I also want to thank our council who is present, Council Member Mobley, Christopher Mobley, Councilwoman Mandela, Councilman Epps, Council Vice President Cook, Councilman DeAugustine, Councilwoman Hyatt. Also, I acknowledge one of our municipal judges who's here, who's also a town resident, Judge Breaker. I know we got started a little late, but we do want to give WOK a chance to perform, and we want to thank them. At this time, I'd ask that our Honorable Clerk, Lorraine Messiah, come forward.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the State of the Township address for 2019. And I want to make a point of reference that this is the first township address in over a decade. Without further ado, I'd like to present the Honorable Mayor Dahlia Vertreese. Greetings, Hillside family and residents, my neighbors. Thank you first and foremost for your patience this evening. Never done this before. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you this evening, and you know that I have to read, which I don't like to do, but we have a lot of information to cover. You all wanted to know, and I was actually asked, what have you done for this town? And I said, it's a lot to cover. Do you really want to know? As you can see, the vision for this township is connections for building our future together. We have made a lot of accomplishments, but we have a lot of obstacles. And you didn't elect me to lie to you, so I will not do that today. But we'll have fun. Over the past year, there were these funny transitions to being an elected official. Just like you, I was just a citizen, concerned, governmentally informed. But I definitely wanted to know more. And I undergo these interesting experiences, particularly in a church recently. Someone kept talking about President Trump in a negative way. She kept looking over at me and saying, no offense, no offense. And I was like, well, why would I be offended? Like, I'm not Donald Trump, I'm not related to him, nothing in common. But somehow, because I was now a politician, I had to undergo this disclaimer that they didn't want to defend me as a politician, offend me as a politician. Just thrown into the bucket with Donald Trump because I ran for an elected office. It's kind of surreal. I didn't expect that. There was this other moment where I was acknowledged at my son's school in George Washington, and I heard a parent say to me, your son goes here? And it was in the background. I thought, yeah, my son goes here. For over 10 years, I have been completely spoiled, coddled, and loved by the teachers, nurses, and administrators of the Hillside Public Schools, and I thank you for supporting me tonight. That being said, thank you also to Principal Sidwa, our Superintendent, Dr. Sherrod, and the students within the Audiovisual Arts Department who are working with Mr. Todd Sloan to operate our Channel 35, which is up and running again. We are still developing programming, but understand that it will be free at no cost to the town, and our children will have a learning experience. Soon you will see them conducting interviews and taking pictures and even putting on makeup for the people that they interview and the dignitaries that I expect to come to Hillside. But I know that the average attention span for people when it comes to politics is about 3 minutes. So let me just express my sincere gratitude for your attendance this evening. One of my favorite sayings as your mayor is to take a moment to take a moment. And in this moment, I'd like to acknowledge my family. That's who we really are. So these are some of the funny outtakes and the beautiful picture that you all received this Christmas from my family to yours. And I need to remind you that I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a citizen of Hillside, and I'm also a labor organizer. Oh, I'm sorry, back up for a second. Yeah, that's like when I was 19, wait, I was 19 when you were 18. Yeah, I robbed the Pringle a little bit. That's my husband, Derek. So beyond being mayor, I'm also a labor organizer. Yes, your mayor has a full-time job, and I am considered a labor leader in what I do. And I organize. I see people where they are and I meet them, just as I have with the Township of Hillside. I'm also an educator. So my heart belongs in the public schools. I'm a staunch supporter of public education, and I'm a staunch supporter of neighborhoods of supporting public education. So please, teachers and administrators, and don't forget, I'm also a taxpayer. Taxes. Just remind me what I feel like. At this time, I would thank Reverend Dr. Christopher Michael Jones for his beautiful benediction today. Operation Rescue, continuing to service the needy in partnership with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey and the first staff of the Hillside family. I'd also like to thank my sorority sisters who are here in attendance tonight. Ladies of Zeta Phi Beta, will you please stand? Thank you for encouraging and supporting me no matter what I do. Thank you. We are final women. Thank you to the ladies of the Central Jersey chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Will you please stand? Well, thank you for honoring our own LaShonda Burgess, who has managed to occupy the first African American female positions, with the exception of Chief in the Township of Hillside. And she's here this evening representing Chief Vertreese this evening. Captain. The ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha, the Beta Omega chapter, thank you for sponsoring the Township of Hillside and your communal efforts. The ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha, Angela Bonanno, Immunico, thank you for sponsoring many communal events, especially our Black History Month program and Martin Luther King program. Hillside Education Association, the Union County Central Labor Council, and the Essex West Hudson Labor Council for supporting me during the election. So Hillside has many small businesses that continue to contribute to our community and establishing those many connections. But I often notice sometimes that we don't always support our small businesses, and maybe we really just don't know they exist. So another transition point for me is in ShopRite. And I often witness a shop when I see people there and they're like, oh, she shops here. Been shopping here since I've been here. But I stopped having to go because I only went in for a gallon of milk and I wound up in an hourly discussion about a pothole or a handicap side, so it cost me a lot. But recently the manager came up to me. He was very well put together. He put on his British accent and spoke to me. He's like, hello, Mel. My name is Nigel Johnson. I just want to let you know that anything you need, I'm here for you. But I was humbled in that moment because I said to myself, I was like, you've been here for me before I even became mayor. Nigel Johnson and his staff showed me and my family compassion at a time where I didn't have enough money to purchase groceries. Yes, that was my experience. But I stood there humbled in his presence and thanking him for just acknowledging me and being respectful. But I acknowledge him and the workers of ShopRite at Hillside for being respectful. And it is why my family continues to shop there. I'd also like to thank the other businesses and community organizations that stepped up to make this administration's first year commendable. Herb's Diner, Fresh and Pretty on Maple Avenue. She made sure to include the administration in her business entrepreneurial mentoring program and provided the floral services for the loss of Hillside son Alpha T. Huey in March 2018 and one of our own Hillside's finest, Officer Giovanni Esposito, in October 2018. Other notable businesses that supported us was Mage Stars, who gave a wonderful presentation at our Black History Month program, Grilled Chicken Palace, served as a concession in our pool this summer. Stepping Stones Early Childhood, your services go exemplary, thank you. Lillian Soul Food, Shokin Karate with Sensei Jerez. And of course, as mentioned, the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, who helped us coordinate with the New York Giants and Stop and Shop to deliver over 1,500 turkeys to families in need and Hillside's own senior citizens, where the Hillside High School Commons assisted us in passing out turkey dinners. Through this connection, Hillside High School student Shannon Willis also received the Heart of a Giant Award in December. Auto Wash, which helped the township raise over $49,000 in our first. So I have to remind you of these stories. I have to remind you because you all have these connections. You know these special people who give to the community every single day. And I also need to remind you that as your mayor, I have a why. I have a why I'm doing this. Here I am in this seat, and I neither have the luxury of sidelines, nor can I hurl this and expand. So what exactly does move the town forward mean when it hasn't moved in a very long time? For far too long, Hillside has been notorious as a bad business partner. We've been known for refusing to pay bills, not submitting anything on time, and of course, political infighting based on our failure to fully transform to the government that we, the people, elected in 1996. But it's time for a change. I'm dedicated to changing our reputation in the county and in the state, and you will see that as part of our accomplishments this year. During the State of the Town, I want you to think about Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point. And he states, if we look at the world, it may seem like an immovable, implacable place, but it's not. With the slightest push in just the right place, it can be tipped. During the State of the Town, I invite you as citizens and taxpayers to be open to the right places. We speak about moving the town forward and moving to a place you all have advised that Hillside should be, but in order to accomplish this, there has to be a series of small, directed, and purposeful movements. As we proceed tonight, there should be something, some program in this town that piques your interest, that moves, as my husband says, the emotional needle. We have a library board, planning boards, zoning boards, the Council of the Arts, a recreational board, a health advisory board, Senior Citizens Council, Veterans Affairs, and many other places that citizens can be used to make this township a better place. I invite you tonight to find the right place. As we proceed tonight, understand that in any institution, only 2 out of every 10 people will do about 80% of the work. We call it the 80-20 rule, the 20-80 rule, whatever is your fancy. And 2 out of every 10 people will cause 80% of the problems. And the remaining 60% will waver in and out of either side, depending on what day it is. Or they'll just post in the middle, or maybe complain on Facebook. I hear people all the time threatening to leave this community under the guise that the grass is greener somewhere else. We may not have an army of departments, but you do have commitment from township employees, which you will see tonight. And these are the employees who are being acknowledged here tonight and who are often taken for granted. Most township employees live here. They pay taxes here. And they are as committed to you as am I, your mayor. We put the township first. Over the past year, we've come a long way in addressing the history of neglect, and
And while there are still many challenges, I'm proud of what we accomplished in such a little bit of time with the skeleton crew. Hillside is making connections to build a better future, and this is just the beginning. Thank you to our Union County administrators, but especially Joe Graziano for all of his assistance in providing the equipment and the vehicles we need to better service Hillside citizens this past year. Let's take a moment and ask Director Anita Johnson to please stand. Are there any members of the Department of Public Works staff here? If you are, please stand. You are the face of our community. People have a lot of criticisms for what you do, but they don't know that your equipment is over 20 years old. They don't know that you actively went out this year and manually picked up leaves because our leaf machines are broken. But we see you. The administration sees you. Keep in mind that our township's infrastructure is over 100 years old. So when we complain about potholes and paving, understand that that excessive milling and paving continues to cause further damage to an already compromised sanitary and storm system in the town, which hasn't been touched since 1922. At the very beginning of this year, DPW dealt with 3 snowstorms and held with related sanitary and sewer system line issues within their first 4 months in office. It was the hard work and dedication of these employees that we were able to emerge last winter and this current winter unobstructed by snow and not suffering from irreparable sewage backup and sinkholes. In June of 2018, storm outfall collapsed due to erosion along the Elizabeth River, and we didn't even know it. Interesting how those relationships and those connections came true. Union County, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Township shared services to correct those wrongs so that we did not have an overflow of sewage and sinkholes. As much of our commercially used equipment is over 20 years old, our trucks and related equipment are often inoperable and in need of excessive repairs. Therefore, the only explanation as to how far the town has come, despite political turmoil, not having a lot of money, and the past mistakes, are the people who care for their residential properties, you, the citizens, and the workers in this town. Give them a round of applause. We are not an administration that doesn't fix our problems. I'm an organizer. That's what I do. I solve problems. We will not wallow and wallow in the past, but we will sit in it. We will acknowledge the truth. We will work on solutions for the future. We will fight for our tax dollars to be used appropriately and make sure that the township has the services we need by eliminating weeds. Some of our accomplishments. Director Johnson, our CFO, and Business Administrator Holt Smith were able to secure and utilize approximately $250,000 in grant resources from Union County, which covered the cost of 2 townwide cleanups, urban aid for Orchard Terrace roadway improvements, security fencing for our ambulance squad, a landscape trailer, and 250 garbage cans to help citizens with their rodent problems. We had 16 streets paved curb to curb at no cost to the township through our coordination with Elizabeth Town Gas. Those of you know, we didn't always have a pleasant relationship. And established a better relationship with the Morris County Co-op, which also implemented road resurfacing programs so that we were able to repave 24 streets. You can clap. So people laughed at me when I started to complain about our street signs. And to me, it's the little things that matter. I thought about our senior citizens, and the fact that if I can't see the street signs, many of them probably can't either. And maybe I watched too much The Wire, because I thought about the police not, especially our new recruits, not being able to navigate through Hillside because our signs were all messed up. If you recall, some signs you saw was just silver. You didn't even have any writing anymore. Some poles were bent over and leaned or twisted the wrong way. You didn't know what street you were on. It was one of the first projects that I gave Director Johnson. And she was successful in putting up at least 22 street signs that are now DOT compliant. The street sign revitalization project began last spring. It will continue in April once the ground softens, and we will continue to phase them throughout the town as needed. DPW also purchased our new traffic striping machine. The last one was 2 years out. So if you recall, we had a lot of paving done, but we didn't have any lines. You know, Winans Avenue was kind of scary for a minute because people were crossing that line. So you start to take it appreciation, but the yellow lines down the middle of the road. We shouldn't have those problems anymore. But again, I promise you to understand the opportunities. We received funding from the county to deal with some underwater problems on Orchard Terrace. It was one of the problems that I became aware of during the underground water issues during the campaign. But through the infrastructure grant, we are on par to receive state funding and expect that notice will be provided in the spring. And that grant funding should be in excess of over $500,000 so the residents along the lines of Orchard Terrace will no longer have flooding in their basements. We want to get our employees more training for sewer backups and also certified in manhole and pipeline evaluation. We do need to update our storm and sanitary maps to accurately identify maintenance issues, repairs, and replacements to work in conjunction with the DEP. DPW needs over 20 years of new essential equipment. However, we were able to pass the township bond ordinance to cover some of those costs, which were approved in October of 2018. Why is that important? These things will cost us over $1.5 million. Oh, taxpayer. Our pumping stations were installed in 1922. And today has led to the township tonnage costs in excess of $3.3 million. We as the township have to consider options, and one of those options may be to privatize our pumping stations, as we are financially unable to shoulder these costs in consideration of more pressing operations in town and or face inevitable sanitary and environmental issues to the residents. But here's where you have the right place. Keep an eye out for your community-wide cleanup, which resumes this spring. Sign your teenager or young adult up for volunteer commitments to help senior citizens during leaf collection and snow removal days. Participate and learn about the rain barrel workshops, the rain garden workshops, recycling, stormwater management, and clean community events. Maybe even become a district captain for DPW. Thank you, Director Johnson. Let's take a moment to invite our police chief for charter to stand, but as I mentioned earlier, Captain Burgess will be taking his place, so please, Captain Burgess. If we have members of the Hillside Police Department, will you please stand? Thank you. Hillside experienced a 40.5% crime reduction in 2017. We experienced an additional 7.7% reduction in 2018. 6.3% drop in the first quarter of 2019. So why is this important? Many people do not know that urban areas were originally populated by the very wealthy and very educated. The Autobahn, or the highway, was inspired because of Germany's ability to vacate cities and mobilize armies swiftly. Eisenhower, and the social justice that existed at that time, felt that the highway system should be implemented with an idea to remove the privilege from urban areas and deter criminal behavior and or outsiders by creating little tiny communities with one way in and one way out. Well, Hillside doesn't have that luxury. Hillside is nestled between Newark, Elizabeth, Union, and Irvington, and happens to be a very well, nicely cleaned urban community. So yes, we have our share of issues, but considering the access to mass transit systems, 3 major highways, tunnels, ports, and an airport, our major crime in Hillside is property theft. Crimes such as robbery, motor vehicle thefts, larceny, and that's due primarily because we have an abundance of on-street parking. The increase of our police personnel will help the township increase its vigilance and continue the downward trend in this criminal activity. So thank you. Our accomplishments include the placement of our new School Board Resource Officer Program, which is a partnership with the Hillside Public Schools. And this will be done at a shared cost. The school district will have the Hillside police officers servicing the safety needs of our children in and outside the school, and forthcoming grants will be secured. During 2018, we had 19 vacancies in the police department, and that was fulfilled as 12 new recruits finished this spring, April, and in July. But that, of course, came at a loss. Again, I remind you of Officer Giovanni Esposito, who we lost in a car crash. So that only brought our gain to 11. In December of 2018, we successfully graduated 5 new officers and plan to fill the remaining 3 vacancies this year. So we are almost at full capacity in our police. The chief is working diligently to reduce overtime by approximating $1 million this last year, and he continues to secure grant funding for various projects for new radio equipment. We are also proud of us closing our identity demographics chart. Based on Hillside's past with identity discrimination, our police department has closed race and gender disparities, whereby of our 66 full-time officers, 52% are white, 32% are African American, 13% are Hispanic, 3% are Asian, 21% are women, and 11% are veterans. So now to our opportunities. Police department compliance. While it is commendable that we are bringing the department up in staff, our actual building remains out of compliance with spacing. We continue to be grandfathered in order to avoid penalties due to the age of our building. But the police department must be expanded to include additional office space and a cell block. The proposal and easiest fix would be to expand the police department into the basement in place of our library and move our library adjacent to Town Hall in the old Veterans Memorial plot. The Hillside Police Department will also begin a 2-year accreditation process which will completely rewrite and revise our existing policies and procedures, which also ensures compliance with our current national policing standards and which will give us our accreditation. Upgrades to police radios. We have, again, we're in the middle of Newark, Irvington, Elizabeth, and Union. Therefore, we also need protection in case of any emergencies, terroristic threats. So therefore, our radios have to be up to par. We can no longer experience dead spots. Therefore, the police chief has committed to the purchase of 6 new police vehicles and upgrades to those radios, replacing our surveillance systems throughout Town Hall. So, where is your right place? If you have a driveway, we encourage you to use it. Do not leave your cars idling at any time. Even if you're moving your cars around in the driveway, even if you are just closing the gate, you are vulnerable. People are watching. Lock your car doors at night. Do not leave valuables in plain sight. Hillside has this convenience of mass transit systems, but it also leads to walking traffic. Consider sending packages to your workplace, maybe to a neighbor who will take it for you. Or take advantage of the Amazon lockers in the 7-Eleven on Liberty Avenue. Packages can be delivered there. It's a huge, big, yellow Amazon box. Amazon will send you an email with your passcode, you pick up your package, and you take your package home. Consider video surveillance around your house and registering your system with the police department, whereby you may agree to allow police to access the feed during active investigations. Create and reestablish your block associations. Thank you to our men and women in blue. At this time, I would like to acknowledge our judge, Marvin Breaker. He was here. Oh, can you please stand up? For many years, our courts were backdated, and tickets weren't being processed fast enough. But what we did, our criminal justice bail reform came into effect in January 2017. A total of 13,650 tickets, complaints, and code enforcement tickets were issued in 2018. The position of a deputy court administrator was filled in April. And additional sessions were added to monthly calendars to reduce this backlog of issues. We also renovated the Violations Bureau window. I don't know if anyone has ever paid a ticket here, but if you recall, it was very, very difficult to pay at the window, and it was not a lot of spacing to process the tickets appropriately. We also implemented the prisoner video conference equipment so that prisoners didn't have to be transported to court in Hillside, and you could actually videotape them in jail. And of course, a collection agency for outstanding fines, which we've collected in excess of $300,000. Our fire department. Chief, can you please stand? Any members of the Hillside Fire Department here. Last year, our Hillside Fire Department responded to over 5,400 EMS calls and put out 43 fires. Remember, we are 2.7 square miles, folks. That's a large volume of calls and fires. Fire stations in the township are necessary to service the needs of the residents and any emergencies that occur on our highways corridors. The fire department has an estimated response time of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Our fire department remains available to sponsor a host of community events with senior citizens, the township, students, and other officials. within the district and has managed to offset costs of the taxpayer by way of ambulatory fees and permits. The fire department is actively seeking grant opportunities through the capital purchase program, and they plan to purchase a new pumper, a Quinn fire truck, and a new transport ambulance system, and at least 2 new 4x4 vehicles. The fire department also purchased a series of tough books, particularly for those dealing with medical issues. We all know that nationally we're trying to transfer over to computerized systems so that we have more transparency with our patients, especially if they are repeaters. So this upgrade to our computer system will allow the 2 houses to speak directly to each other and accommodate our patients. We also would like to upgrade to the county communication system, and these overall changes will improve the safety to our firemen and the residents that they serve. However, there are a lot of opportunities there. The fees generated by the fire department by way of ambulance transport brought in about $350,000, but these fees woefully undercut the increases to overall increases in health care. So within the past 8 years, those costs are no longer offsetting taxpayer costs. It is recommended that within these rising healthcare costs, the ambulatory fees be increased to $1,300. But this issue can only be addressed by way of ordinance. The firehouses are in complete disrepair. This is the ugly part. Pursuant to a letter from a prior fire chief, these issues were noted in need of dire renovation since 1981. At minimum. Due to years of neglect, minor quality of life repairs, as in the roof, ceilings, windows, mold remediation, will cost a minimum of $638,000. But this was also included and presented within the bond ordinance package, and these issues should be addressed this year. Remember that our firemen work a 24-hour shift, and they can no longer live in houses that may be potentially hazardous, unhealthy, and unusable. I make that commitment to you that I will make those houses habitable again. As of April 2019, there are 9 vacancies. However, due to financial constraints, and due to the lack of a formal capital budget plan for the last 13 years, the fire department was forced to maintain at very high costs outdated, overused apparatuses and vehicles. Moreover, in 2017, the township purchased a fire truck without certification of funds, leaving an operational budget of $79,000 for the remainder of the year. It's not good. The current vehicles yield an average age of 17 years. With over 100,000 miles, whereby the oldest vehicle is 28 years old and holds 260,000 miles, and the oldest fire truck is 26 years old, all of which are relied upon daily. Future capital purchases for the fire department for 2019 and 2020 is estimated to cost the township $1.5 million in repairs. It's no one's fault, but we've all kind of been asleep at the wheel. Finally, the township has not been able to settle our collective bargaining agreements in over 7 years. And considering ongoing operating expenses, the fire department remains understaffed and unable to fill these vacancies at this time. However, the new administration is currently negotiating these contracts to further develop an amicable balance between the past and what we want to be the future, and avoid, of course, bankrupting the town. So let me know how you feel about this part. Administration and Finance. Mr. Glenn Jones is our Director and CFO of the Township. Can you please stand? And of course, our Business Administrator, Hope Smith. So going in as a taxpayer, I knew we had a lot of these issues because a lot of my resources were not being supplied. and I had a lot of whys. My administration hired full-time personnel in order to get an in-depth look at our operations, our finances, and the appropriate use of our resources. I, as a taxpayer, wanted an opportunity to look at what we had and enhance those strengths. I wanted to look at where we have gone with misspending and how to make those opportunities to perform optimally, and finding out what obstacles existed to understand what we do not have and what we need and what we need to pursue. Priorities. First, let me introduce you to our CFO, Glenn Jones. He's worked hard with my friend and sister peer in mayorship, former Mayor Dana Red of Camden. Director Jones was instrumental in bringing fiscal accountability to a city that had been ridden with fiscal and financial mismanagement, and for decades. Every day he comes to Hillside, dedicated to improving our township and fixing our budget. Our business administrator, Hope Smith. She's worked for Hillside in every department for 25 years. So you talk about somebody who She also serves and has served as the zoning board officer since 2010 and was a member of the administrative staff of the prior administration. Director Smith is very well versed in her knowledge of past practices and of practices that should no longer be practiced in accordance with our form of government. During her tenure in Hillside, Director Smith obtained her master's in public administration from Rutgers University in 2016 and is also dedicated to seeing the township flourish. So, as a business administrator, she is responsible for all of the departments and employees seen here. 1%. And as you can see, all hands are on deck. The knowledge and expertise between Director Jones and Director Smith have led to the following accomplishments. We prepared the 2018 budget. We introduced it in June and adopted in August, which was the earliest the budget had ever been submitted in the past. They reinstated the accumulated leave trust fund, which sets aside monies for all personnel who have retired and had accumulated leave to pay out. It wasn't in our budget previously. Returned over $261,000 in grant funding from prior years to UA County. But Director Jones has corrected our reports and has orchestrated compliance with the county to cease future burdens to refund awarded grant monies in the future. The township is also now current with our pilot taxes. Pursuant to statute, the county is entitled to 5% of all pilot revenue, but this payment was not received since 2013. We have since restored and made whole this obligation. The township has once again started to submit, implement, and use Clean Communities grant funding, which has been most utilized by the Department of Public Works, which you saw earlier. We have introduced and adopted the capital bond ordinance, which provides the township cushion to purchase items, resources, and well-needed equipment, as well as helping us establish credibility with the state of New Jersey, granting access to the capital funds that were set aside by the state to build a new library for the township and leading the way for the police department to be in structural compliance. The township also purchased new copiers and fax machines, which have been installed to reduce costs to the township by over $300,000 a year. And finally, the township obtained a Moody's A1 credit rating. All right. So our tax office. Upon the retirement of Bernard Murdoch in July, Michael Ross was hired as the part-time tax assessor. Mr. Ross came on board in August and was able to accomplish the following. He added assessments that were inspected, written, and input into the computer system prior to the September 30th deadline. He also added assessment and brought in over $1.2 million in extra ratables to the township. All these also were downloaded from the county website, processed, and given to the collector's office to be placed in their system. During 2018, we also established online payments and collected over $514,506 in back taxes by way of annual tax certificate sale. The tax collection rate for Hillside was 95% in 2018. Needless to say, taxes are the township's main source of revenue. That being said, please turn your attention to the slide above. The one thing that everybody complains, I've been hunted down in parking lots, I've been snatched aside at school functions, and people yell at me about taxes. And looking at the pie chart, you will see that the municipality has not raised your taxes since 2014. It was not your mayor at that time, it was not your council. Taxes have been increasing due to county taxes and the school board. That being said, that means the mayor and council and the township have fed everyone else except the town. And at this moment, we are starving. And we all see the consequences of not doing that. The county and the school district are very important to establish these relationships. They have resources, they have opportunities that the township has not been accessing in the past. They have a lot of money, and I'm not here to judge whether or not they should or shouldn't. We all have our own opinions on that. However, we do have to function as a township. I would like us to thrive, but we do have to function. And that is why it is so vital that we find new and creative ways to stave off increases in the future by encouraging development, investing more in education, educational opportunities to make our school rankings improve, taking advantage of our opportunity zone appointments, revitalizing residential homes, and demolishing properties that are no longer salvageable. So let's take a moment to decide if we can handle the truth. We can kick the can down the road, or we can have more of an understanding as to why these connections and communal relationships have closed and have the opportunity to close the financial gaps in the township. We are doing all we can to right the wrongs of the past, so we can enjoy the embellishments and luxuries of the future and prepare our children for success in the 21st century and beyond. That being said, let's talk about our pool. Big goal. So when we got our Moody's rating, there were two major loss leaders: the lack of settlement of our contracts and our swimming pool. Between 1988 and 2012, there were no ordinances to secure capital funding and maintain or repair the Hillside pool. Due to the years of neglect, the township had to supplement $100,000 per year for 6 weeks of operation. No money was generated for the pool to pay for itself. In hopes of trying to rectify the pool as a loss leader and implement loss prevention, the administration implemented a credit card POS system to track sales, a time clock system to manage staff, and implemented a new phone and Wi-Fi system. While we were better able to track attendance and sales of the pool, the township still lost over $35,000, again, for 6 weeks of operation. This year, the administration coordinated with the Department of Public Works to make patch and minor repairs to the pool and operational equipment. However, according to an inspection performed by Integrated Aquatics Engineering Incorporated, in order to bring the pool up to operational standards, the cost of the township ranges between $1.2 and $1.8 million. Just think about that. I enjoyed the pool. but $1.8 million for 6 weeks. When we really think that. So, the Department of Building and Housing. Moving on. It's like a CEO. We don't want to talk about that. This is proving that your taxes are lower today than they were in 2014. But again, there are a lot of opportunities for making those choices. The township was not fed. So the building department. The building department is responsible for the enforcement of UCC and the property maintenance codes. For the past 2 years, the code enforcement officers were working out of the mayor's office, and code enforcement had become a reactive initiative instead of a proactive initiative. The program was returned back under the umbrella of the Department of Building and Housing, and their highlights are: we've appointed Arthur Figueredo as a permanent construction official. Mr. Figueredo had been working in the active capacity since August 2016, which made the township non-compliant with state statutes. So we finally moved him whole. An additional full-time code enforcement officer was hired in March, and this brought staffing levels up to 2 full-time officers and 2 part-time officers. Implementation of the vacant property registration resulted in $21,500 in revenue and 85 houses being registered as vacant properties. Before, we were a little unsure as to which ones were vacant. Construction of new public storage unit at the property located at 591-601 North Union Avenue. This property had been vacant for a period of more than 5 years and was a constant nuisance in relation to property management. The implementation of the utilization and property maintenance manager is now being used to track and monitor property maintenance activities. As of December 31st, 2018, there were 744 cases entered into the system. Therefore, the department generated $549,274.92 in permit and miscellaneous fees. Our engineering department. Our engineering is done by Remington and Vernon. In 2018, they recouped $592,000 in outstanding NJ DOT grants. These grants dated back to 2012. They confirmed that the township has an urban aid allotment in the amount of $261,000 for future use. And these funds are intended to be used again for the Orchard Terrace under drain system project in spring 2019. Demolition has been successful, and the property is located at 254 Long Avenue and 214 Oakland Terrace. You guys have complained about those properties for a long time. Grant writing. Millennium Strategies was appointed as a grant writer in 2018. Grant awards during this year include a $2,100 purchase for new public shade trees to be planted throughout the township, the Union County Kids Recreation Trust grant in the amount of $9,666 for the installation of a fitness circus course in Central Avenue Park, a Union County Infrastructure and Municipal Aid grant in the amount of $55,000 for the completion of drainage improvements on Orchard Terrace, the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety Drunk Driving Enforcement grant in the amount of $31,491, and the purchase of body-worn camera equipment for the Hillside Police Department. We heard you in your complaints about speeding. Therefore, a grant has also been secured in the amount of $6,600 to fund officer overtime to conduct distracted driving enforcement and traffic details and safety. Currently, there are over $1 million in pending grants awards for 2019. 2018 proved to be an eventful year with many accomplishments. In 2019, the administration will continue to work to establish sound fiscal policies to ensure the township's finances are properly managed and are fiscally sound. I would like to thank you. and acknowledge Robin Kaufman, our Director of the Health Department. I will say, Robin, you are the most patient person when it comes to the rat problem. During 2018, the Health Department held 2 rabies clinics. We are known throughout the county for our success in conducting our vaccination programs for dogs and cats. The staff continues to attend meetings with other town representatives for continuing education credits. We have a new registrar. In collaboration with the Seton Hall School of Nursing, you can periodically come to Town Hall and receive blood pressure screenings, and especially in the Senior Center in the months of January through July and September. Monthly child health clinics continue to service the community for children from birth to 4 years old, infant, toddlers, and preschoolers, as well as having evening immunization clinics to help with required school immunizations, all the way up to the age of 19. I didn't know that. This year we had 2 clinics, totaling 121 children, which is increased from 49 last year. The total influenza vaccine, which has taken approximately 5 youngsters this past year for our children, is 125. Our annual health fair, we encourage you to come on out. It was held on October the 7th, as it is every year. And as usual, we've had huge successes with over 160 registered participants. It was slightly down last year. However, we look forward to administering more influenza vaccines, more daytime clinics, and more vendors for access to dental care and other related illnesses. This year, in collaboration with Prestige Car Wash, as noted earlier, we had our first annual Pink Shuffle on the Hillside Breast Cancer Awareness Walk. And again, we raised $49,000 for breast cancer awareness. This year, the Health Department participated in the Congressman Donald M. Payne Jr.'s Colorectal Cancer Awareness Initiative, which was held on March 15th of 2018 and will be held this year on the 27th. There you go. 27th at 11 a.m. in the Hillside Municipal Building. Also this year, we have given away screening kits distributed to our seniors and food establishments. Our food establishments in total, 91, have current inspections and are up to date in their food licenses. There are 2 new establishments that have filed for food licenses this year, and of course that was our Wingstop and Save-A-Lot, so we're very happy to have them. Special events sponsored by the Township and the Hillside Board of Education were inspected by the inspector, and establishments with electronic infrared paraphernalia were monitored to ensure proper licensing and signage. Rodent control. Rodent control was aggressively addressed this year. The mayor was attacked. I was on TV for the rats. In specific areas around town were identified to have increased rodent activity. We sent out a number of calls as well as letters and implemented our garbage can system to help our residents keep the lids on and be ordinance compliant. At Thanksgiving time, we collaborated with the police department and the fire department to ensure that needy residents and families received their food baskets, whereby 20 family names were submitted. With all this and more, the health department continues to answer phones, do a lot of counter work, and then service by performing marriage license applications, processing birth and death certificates in a timely manner, doing communicable disease investigations, and assisting the public with other various concerns. Rats. So for 2019, the goals for the health department include increasing the fees for dog and cat licensing, hiring additional part-time nurses through grant money, which will increase our investigations in communicable diseases, assist with blood pressure screenings, and resume nursing services to parochial schools in Hillside and other educational programs. We will continue to collaborate with Seton Hall, as well as provide the town with effective town-wide extermination of our rats. The right place. Again, on Wednesday, March 27th, we will be holding the colorectal program with Congressman Donald Payne. It will be held in the back conference room at the Township. NJC will be represented by Paul Fernandez, who will also provide educational information. The Union County Office of Health Management will be represented by Lovely Randall, who will provide educational information, an educational workshop, and bring with her a small inflatable colon. Also, test kits will be available. The administration and council worked hard to secure those garbage cans for residents, so please contact DPW if you are in need of a garbage can. Our recreational department. Thank you, Director Kaufman. The recreational department is a place where we are working. It is definitely a work in progress, but we are working. Contrary to popular belief, our middle school basketball team just won their championship in basketball. And we continue to host a plethora of programs, Easter egg hunts, the Soccerama. We continue to host the Halloween parties, and we had a free trip to see the Harlem Globetrotters. The goals for 2019. We want to create a better communication system with the community regarding all recreational programs and events. What that means is we used to get a whole lot of diddles. And the problem as a parent was there were only a segmented amount of time that you could actually sign up for the programs. Well, I work during the day, so I needed it to be online and have some access. I need to know who's going to be monitoring my children and what coaches would be there. That being said, the recreational department remains understaffed. We want to improve our social media presence, but we have updated the recreational department's website. We want to bring the community center in all parks up to code. We want to reach out to the community and local businesses to sponsor and allocate their time and resources, maybe even become coaches. We want to create more inclusive programs for residents of all ages and ability. We are aggressively seeking grants, partnering with local organizations to grow our current programming, such as Union County and the city. We look forward to creating a unique intern program, and we have plans to continue to partner with the community food bank and create a young chefs program. We're looking for local artists as well to potentially do a mural. So if you know anyone who's an artist, please reach out to our recreational department. All right. Our seniors. So the demographics in Hillside report that 25% of our population are senior citizens. About another estimated 10% will be considered senior citizens after the tally of our next census report. More than anything, Hillside is in need of a senior housing complex. Like you, many of our seniors do not want to leave. However, our senior center continues to provide movies, outings. They currently have this great book club, and they are very well taken care of by our director, Mary Dawkins. We have welcomed this year new members Rochelle Wynn, Velma Eddie, and we're saddened by the passing of our two members, Leo Griffin and Joan C. Sierra, who was the Senior Advisory Board's past president. Several of our seniors, along with myself, attended the services and proclamations which were presented to the families on behalf of the Township. Thank you. Thank you. Earlier tonight, you heard me talk about our library. On February 4th, 2019, a library focus group was held to discuss with community members a new 21st century library. The demographics of this town indicate that over 46% of our population is under the age of 35, and our school ranking is in the bottom quartile. Building a new library is a win-win for the township. The voters already approved the funding, and the state of New Jersey has already set aside the funding to build for it. We just have to be prepared, which is one of the things the bond ordinance and the Moody rating does for us. The most difficult part of any project is the land. Well, I wanted to do a major tribute to veterans in this community. I mean, they yelled at me a lot during the campaign. A lot. Therefore, the administration, along with the support of Councilman Dahlia, proposed to use the land that was formerly the Veterans Memorial Building and name the library the Hillside Veterans Memorial Library. The vision is to have rooms dedicated to each area of the armed services and recognition areas for those who served and died in combat. The library will finally be able to generate its own funds by hosting events and inviting lecture series from surrounding institutions. The library, which according to the standards today, is the new 21st century community center, wherein it hosts not only educational and academic resources, but job training and development, as well as plays, talent shows, music sessions, and lessons, college fairs, job fairs, and our routinely hosting and they routinely host larger computer-friendly libraries. As it stands, the internet and access to computers is the most sought-after resource in the library from all ages, and especially for those who otherwise cannot afford computer and internet access. The administration and the council has prepared. We put forth an ordinance to secure a trust fund so that the veterans of the town can sell bricks. Please look forward to our brick sale. And those bricks will be used to build a memorial on the property, as well as provide placement for any funds generated through fundraisers and or donations from businesses in town. As stated earlier, moving the library out of the basement will not only demonstrate the township's investment in the future, but our investment in ourselves. So here's a conceptual rendering of what the library would look like. And it's called the Hillside Veterans Memorial Library. So I'm going to end. I know I put you through a lot. I came late and it's long, but I did want to let you know that we've been working. We've been working very hard. I know we've been quiet, but understand that we are like ducks, pedaling furiously under the surface while appearing calm, cool, and collected. I will say, be neighborly. Take care of each other. Be responsible with your garbage cans, maybe parking your driveway. Acknowledge that your neighbors have limited parking. Facebook is not the complaint line for township issues. But we are here for you. You've seen the directives today. You have access to our emails. You have responsive council members who will address your needs. And I will say on the final note, I left this one as last. I need your prayers. On March 6, 2018, Garden State Equality asked me to participate in an evening with the mayors. And I was unable to attend because I was scared of the town hall meeting. I contacted a former mentoree who worked with the Hillside Police Department to implement and provide ideas for equitable treatment of but mostly those with minority status or members of the LGBT community. My mentoree's name is Jemani Montague, and she is currently in Los Angeles working on social justice reform. And if you Google her name, you can see her on the C-SPAN interviews. She represented the township well, and I must say, she introduced me to Union County's only Office of LGBTQ Services in the state of New Jersey. We're the only one. Many people do not know that the LGBT community still suffers with equal rights. And when hate crimes are committed against them, there's often a lack of investigation and they're not taken seriously. Hate crimes are real, and this community is often exposed and misunderstood. And I share the story with you, like I said, because I need your prayer. Last night, my family member of mine, was attacked in Miami-Dade for being gay. He was beaten with a baseball bat. And this morning, it was unreal. But I was able to reach out and understood the resources from our LGBT community based on the experiences being the mayor. So that was your gift to me to help me cope with what my family is currently going through. I'm unsure of his status, and he remains unconscious in the hospital. But neighbors, just like you, and thankfully a first responder, ran the perpetrator off. But the fact remains that we as a community have to start taking care of each other. It's very easy to judge. Facebook is easy. Be vulnerable to see life from someone else's perspective. And when you find yourself jumping to conclusions and being dedicated to a life of revenge and hate, just check yourself. Because it could be you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I know that you will have a barrage of questions for me and the administration and the council, but guess what? I encourage you to do so. Please feel free to use us. We are here for you. I also ask you to visit DPW, the table outside, and explore your options, as well as sign up for your town hall meetings. Thank you so much for your patience.